special post WrestleMania edition of Big Bang Wrestling. I'm your host Marcus.
I'm Nick.
And WrestleMania literally just concluded minutes ago, and night two really wasn't as good as night one at all.
No, not really.
I mean, it's kind of like a fucked up night from the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know. Didn't feel like WrestleMania. Matches that I thought would be better or longer were shorter and not as good. And
Yeah, night one though. I want to talk about night one. That felt like WrestleMania.
yeah, that wasn't bad. Night one was pretty decent. It was for the most part. It was.
That kicked off with a bang, as it kicked off WWE title match between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, and I was honestly surprised it started with that. And
yeah, I figured that would have been the main event for that night, but being as it's the world title and that's what you're supposed to do, but hey, what can you do?
Right. I saw Bobby Lashley, he retained over Drew McIntyre, and that was surprising all in itself.
Yeah, that was good. I'm glad Lashley won because it would have made his win pointless if he winning the belt begin with pointless,
Yeah, because they said they wanted McIntyre to have his big moment in front of the fans, and
well, yeah, he's already won it and lost it 3 times now in the last year. So
yeah, three times. So maybe they got smart and was like, okay, we don't want to keep repeating this because then it's not as special.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Then, so like we said, Bobby Lashley, he retained.
Yeah.
And I think that was his first title defense.
It may have been.
No, second, because he defended against The Miz.
Yeah,
does that really count at this point?
Yeah.
Then the next match on the card was, the women's tag team Turmoil.
Yeah, that was rough. That was...
only one established team in that whole match.
One entire team. Then they didn't even win the match, the actual tag team.
Yeah, Riots. Who started the match off? It was Carmella and Billie Kay.
Yeah, and it was Mandy Rose and what's her name, Dana Brooke.
They started it off?
No, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was the Riots.
They came out next.
That's right, yeah.
They
so it had to have been Mandy Rose then.
But
Billie Kay, god awful as always.
Whoever decided to put Billie Kay in a ring is an idiot. First of all, that woman is terrible.
Yeah.
And just that whole match was just awkward and clunky and all over the place.
And then Liv Morgan, we saw her slip up on her way down to the ring.
That was Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
Shit. I said Liv Morgan. Thank God for editing.
Fuck, you got 8 women in the match and 6 of them are blonde. I don't blame you.
Yeah, but ultimately that match, went to Natalya and Tamina. Who ended up getting their title match on night 2, which we'll talk about that later on. And after that was what? Cesaro and Rollins, I believe.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Cesaro and Rollins was the best match of the whole event.
Definitely, by far.
They had a really good match. Rollins has always been good, and Cesaro is severely underused, underrated, and they had a lot of nice stuff in there. And
they really don't give Cesaro any chance to really shine.
No.
Until last night. Until night 1 of Mania, and he took advantage of it for sure.
Yeah, well, they really didn't give it to him. They just put him in a match with Rollins. I mean, it was still, in between some other crap.
And the fact they had him win, though, is surprising.
Yeah, I was surprised they had him win for once, and that was good.
Just the athleticism, though, in that match. The moves they were doing was like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. No, I said it was the best match of the whole thing.
I'd have to say the same thing, and I think both of us actually, for our picks that we made on the Facebook
post, both picked him to win.
We both picked Cesaro. Yeah, then we saw Styles and Omos.
Yeah, I mean, that was just...
Made Omos look like a freaking beast, but I don't see them holding these tag titles very long.
It was just a win.
I don't see them holding them long at all.
It was more or less just to give Omos a win, and there you go.
Pretty much. That's what I'm getting out of it. Yeah, we had Bad Bunny and Damian Priest and I really don't have any words for that. It was there.
Yeah, Damian Priest deserves better.
I mean, give credit where credit's due. Bad Bunny did put in the training, put in the hours for the work.
But he still shouldn't be there. He still shouldn't.
Because what's your take? We're talking about this. What's your take on celebrities appearing at WrestleMania?
Well,
if
they're there just doing celebrity stuff, that's one thing. It doesn't really matter. I'm okay with that. But when you start putting these guys in the ring like that, now you've created this whole thing, like with this what's that idiot's name, Soldier Boy. Now you've got that crap where you got these guys that think, okay, they can just do whatever they want and they can just come right in and do whatever, and that's not how it works. Yeah. So now because they've had this one guy, they've opened this whole other thing up where these guys are just running their mouths and talking shit.
Bow Wow, you got Soldier Boy,
so no, I don't like it because it gives everybody the idea that anyone can do this. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be trained. You can do this, and that's not the case.
And the Paul's there, another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that was just like one of those things. And I just want to talk about the Miz and Morrison's entrance into that match. What the fuck? That's it's become a total joke now when you're just nothing but a bunch of bunnies. And the worst part of it is one of them was missing an ear.
Few of them were missing an ear.
What happened to their ear? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Ask Adam Rose.
God. Then you had Braun Strowman versus Shane in the steel cage. They need to be doing a lot more of Braun than what they're doing.
Yeah, well, they just make him look like an idiot all the time, and then only reason they had a cage match was just to give Shane a spot to jump off of. So
I don't understand why they don't push him.
Well, and then they had Shane just kicking his ass the whole match, and then Braun wins after 2 moves.
Because there's no way Shane should be beating up on Braun Strowman.
No,
there's no way.
All.
No way.
No.
It was impressive. He ripped the cage, though, and then brought him back in. That was cool.
Well, like I said,
pulled him all the way up to the top of the cage, right?
His ass kicked.
Threw him off the top of the cage. Braun's on top of the cage. Braun climbs back down into the ring.
But I'm saying he's getting his ass kicked for 10 minutes, and then he does a couple of moves, and
I don't understand why Braun didn't just climb on out there.
Well, that's not how a cage match is supposed to work anyway.
Or just walk out the giant gaping hole you ripped in the cage.
That whole escape the cage thing is stupid. But
easy out for the match, but I mean, it wasn't a horrible match, but nowhere near what a WrestleMania match should be.
They just should have done something else. Totally.
With those two, yeah. Then to really wrap up the night, you had Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in their historic main event match for the SmackDown Women's title.
Yeah.
The match itself, the quality of wrestling, was great.
Fine.
I thought it was great.
It wasn't bad.
And Bianca Belair, she got a much deserved win.
Mm-hmm.
She really put in the work. She's great in the ring. She's good on the mic. I really can't say much bad about her at all.
No, I said it was fine.
That hair, though, friggin', I don't know what the hell she's doing with her hair to cut people with it, but...
Yeah, it's not the first time she's done that.
Yeah, the first time was what, Shayna Baszler?
I don't think that was the first one either, but I know Shayna was one of them.
Just the sound.
Yeah, that was a good one. She definitely got all of that one on there.
God knows. Yeah, so that was a great night, to kick off WrestleMania with, even after the weather delay, the rain, the storm, all that fun stuff. Yeah, then we have night 2 that just, I don't even know. It's supposed to cap off,
Yeah.
Supposed to cap off WrestleMania, start with a bang, end with a bang.
Yeah.
No, night 2 is almost like a dud. That's the best way for me to put it.
Best thing they did was get Meltman out of the way first.
Alright, yeah, that match, I was expecting, Fiend, it started off okay, with the exception of the Jack in the Box bit or whatever, Started off
nothing
good.
about that match was okay. Nothing in that whole feud or anything they've done with that has been okay. It's stupid. They need to do something else other than what they've been doing.
So, what was
There's
your opinion?
nothing in that there's just should not be there at all.
What did you think of the Fiend though? Like when they first brought the character out, what was your thought
When
on
it
it?
was initially created, I liked it because it was different. They were actually trying to do something different, and then they just went straight into all the goofy shit and the same way they've always booked Bray Wyatt. So
Oh, the giant hammer thing was kind of dumb.
it worked though for that character. It's better than the shit they've done with him and Alexa Bliss and all that other goofy shit. I'd much rather have him whacking people with a mallet than all that.
I don't think the bit with Alexa has been bad. It's just the direction they're going with it is kind of out there. But I mean, the match I thought it started off good. They made the Fiend look strong like when he first started out, which was good. And then they drop him with one RKO. Like, what the fuck? They're making Fiend look powerful, right? And Alexa Bliss comes out the box, spewing the black shit, and then his drop of one RKO. Now, I expected him to kick out at one. And that didn't happen. I'm like, well, shit. They dropped the ball on that one again.
Well, I didn't expect the match to happen at all, so.
Yeah, then we went to the tag title match, between Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax and Natalya and Tamina. And that was for two of the most underrated women in the company.
It was okay.
I ain't gonna say underrated, but
it was okay. It just unfortunately it just felt like just another match, but it wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't. Tamina really had the crowd invested in that
wasn't
match.
Anything to write home about either, though.
Nah.
Like I said, it was just another match, and unfortunately, a lot of those matches felt that way tonight. It's just another match. So.
Like somebody could have been on Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
I mean, that match itself wasn't horrible, like you said, but I was surprised of how invested the crowd was in Tamina.
Well, and they've been gone for a long time too, the crowd. So certain things we're gonna get reactions that they probably normally wouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Certain things are gonna be cheered more than normal, and I get that. And I'm not saying they did anything that wasn't worth cheering.
Yeah.
Just
it wasn't bad, but ultimately, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax got the win. So I mean, that was what's left. Who's left for them to beat? Who are they going to lose the titles to?
That's why I never really understood the women's tag titles anyway, because there's not many actual women's tag teams.
Not like there was. They split them all up.
Yeah.
I don't see who else there is to challenge
because
them.
If you remember when they first debuted the belts, nobody even won them. They just gave them away. So.
No, you're talking about the NXT tag titles.
Yeah, still, that's what we're getting. Both belts are pretty much being treated the same way.
I know it's going to happen. Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch are going to return, and they're going to challenge them for the belts. After that tag title match, there was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a horrible match. Not what I was expecting at all.
The thing is, like I said earlier, they've been wrestling each other for almost 20 years, and it's been the same match every time they wrestle each other.
No, but Kevin Owens won the match ultimately, but that's a win that Sami Zayn could have used.
And I don't understand what the deal of having Logan Paul there is. What he's ever done to deserve that, I don't know. But
he made hit YouTube videos. He's our inspiration.
Yeah, he's an influencer.
I mean, that's a win that Sami Zayn could have used. Yeah, he didn't get it. Then they made him look like a bitch after the match.
Yeah, to Logan Paul of all people.
So I reckon Sami Zayn's gonna be the next one out the door.
Who knows
Maybe
anymore?
they did the same thing. Everybody that's going out the door, that's what they do with them.
Who knows anymore?
But after that, he had I think it was after that. It was what?
Well, we had the United States title match too.
Yeah, I can't remember what was first. That or the Intercontinental title.
Does it really matter?
Not really. All right, the United States title match, Matt Riddle and Sheamus was great. I thought
it was fine. And it was just short.
It was short, but they packed a lot into it.
It was awfully short for a title match.
Sheamus, he was going for white noise off the top rope at one point and slipped. He was able to capitalize on it, but he slipped up initially, and that bro kick when Matt Riddle went for that moonsault.
Yeah, when he was trying his springboard moonsault and he got kicked in the mouth.
That was just it was epic. Brutal. So Sheamus, he finally wins the United States title after so many years of not really doing much or having a title.
Yeah, they haven't really done a whole lot with him in the last few years.
So that was
kind of just been there with Cesaro. They've just been there.
Pretty much. I'm just glad they're finally doing something with some of these guys, Then the Nigerian drum fight for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, just call it a no holds barred, no DQ, whatever.
Something.
You don't need all this extra crap.
Because there's nothing that made it any different.
No.
At all.
No, exactly. There's no extra, there was no stipulation, no.
And to cap it all off, right? A Nigerian drum fight. How many drums got used?
Well, there's
Don't worry, I'll wait.
There was somebody there playing drums. Does that count?
Was it really?
There was a drummer for that intro.
Oh,
like I said, does that count?
I didn't understand the point of that.
Yeah.
But we did see Dabba-Kato. He came back.
I still don't know who the hell that is, but...
Yeah, that was on Raw Underground. Big, tall, black guy with dreads. Friggin'. We were talking about him yesterday, wondering what happened to him. But
I tell you.
They brought him back.
But
and he assisted Apollo Crews with winning the Intercontinental title. I'm glad Apollo won the belt. I just thought there was a better way they could have done it.
Yeah, they could have just had a regular match and been okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it needed that stipulation.
It didn't. They could have just had a regular match and it would have been fine.
Yeah. And then we saw the Raw Women's title. Asuka and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley finally got her WrestleMania win.
Yeah, and I was actually really looking forward to that match, but it just felt really flat to me. I'm not really sure what happened there, but it just didn't feel... Something didn't click there, and I'm not really sure what it was off the top of my head, but something there just didn't work.
It was a good match, but it wasn't really anything special. Again, for WrestleMania, my eyes should be glued onto that screen, and it wasn't there.
No, so something about it just didn't. Something there just didn't click. Just didn't work.
I don't know.
I can't really put my finger on it.
I can't either.
Just something about it just didn't come off the way it should have.
Not knocking the talent of either woman. Both of them are great.
Yeah.
Just something with it.
It wasn't bad.
Something didn't click.
Yes, something there didn't work.
But Rhea did finally win the Raw Women's title, so I'm interested to see where that's going to go, especially if a lot of newer people finally winning belts. That's something WWE hasn't done in a while, is give newer people a belt. Yeah. So maybe they're finally trying to put a little faith in them.
Yeah, no, it'll be well, they've really got no choice at this point but to give belts to,
Yeah, because all the other people, they're kind of getting a little too old now. Then we had the main event, Edge versus Roman versus Daniel Bryan for the Universal title.
Yep.
And I was hyped for that match. I thought Edge was going to win. I was hoping Edge was going to win and bring back Big Gold.
Let's see, I would have much rather seen just Edge versus Roman. I don't see the point or the need in putting Daniel Bryan in it. And with those promos they did with Daniel Bryan, it just really made him come off as kind of whiny and bitchy.
I'm not mad about them putting Bryan into the match. As I say, he had a claim to it, but the way that it happened,
necessary to put him in that match. It wasn't needed. Edge and Roman could have had a perfectly fine title match with each other, and Edge could have gotten Roman over, and it'd have been fine.
Yeah. Honestly, I just thought it added an extra layer to the match personally. Because I guess if they wanted to turn Edge heel, you would have to put Bryan into the match.
And that's another thing. There's no point in turning Edge heel right at this point in his life anyway.
That's what he's best at.
He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already done everything else. Why make him a heel? He's had his run. He doesn't need to be a heel anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't. It just. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here, but it seems to be the case a lot.
Just not as open-minded.
No. It wasn't needed. It didn't need to be a triple threat. There's no reason. There's no good reason for it to have been, other than they just wanted to put Daniel Bryan in there.
Pretty much. I mean, now with Edge seemingly being out the picture, Daniel Bryan no longer has a claim to that belt.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to be the next challenger for Roman Reigns?
I don't know. It's a hard question because, AJ's not there anymore.
Yeah.
He's, on Raw in the tag division now. They won those belts. I mean, there's really not too many people because they haven't built anyone.
No. Where's Aleister Black?
Point. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a good challenger for him. But with Jey Uso winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, do you think he might get a shot soon?
I don't know.
I don't see anybody else.
Yeah, I mean,
like an angle where Jey turns on Roman to get that title shot.
I don't know if they would do that or not.
Because they're too good as a unit together.
It's just there's not too many people there for him that would make sense. That's logical. There would
Cesaro.
I mean, yeah.
I can see Cesaro getting a match.
Seth would be a good feud because they're past. Cesaro would be a better match in my opinion because
and with him getting that
styles.
And with him getting that win over Seth, I think that puts him in line for that match.
But do you actually see them putting Cesaro in that position?
I think they would.
As long as they've had him and as long as they've done nothing with him, I don't see it happening.
He's not a stranger to world title matches, but they're just few and far in between.
No, he's not. But look what they've done with him ever since he's been there. I don't see them putting him in that spot just based on that.
I think they'd give him the match, but I don't think they'll ever let him win a world title. No. Never. No. He's one of those underutilized talents that deserve a world title.
Yeah.
But, and for Bobby Lashley in the WWE title, same thing. What's next for him?
He's got a few more people to pick from.
Who do you think he might challenge him next?
But again, that's another hard one because outside of what you got, Drew, Sheamus could be one at some point.
But he's United States champion. You need to leave him in the United States title picture and just leave him there for the time being. Keith Lee, last time we saw him was a WWE title match.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good spot for him to come back to. Randy Orton, we've seen that 100 million times.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
WWE kind of
just haven't built anybody.
That's the thing. They kind of stuck themselves in a bind where they were relying on part-timers and Hall of Famers. They haven't built anybody.
Yep.
And so we'll be seeing how that turns out tomorrow night. Well, tomorrow night on Raw.
Yeah, it'll play out here in the next month. We'll see what happens.
If WrestleMania Backlash coming out. What happened to WrestleMania Money in the Bank? Backlash coming out in about happening in about 5 weeks. We'll see what develops between here and there.
Probably won't be much.
So I gotta ask. We both agreed that the best match of the card was Cesaro and Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Worst match of the card.
You already know. You already know my answer.
Fiend and Orton.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I hate to say it, I'll probably make the same pick. For different reasons, but I'd make the same pick. Fiend and Orton was one that, if that's what they were doing, it sets up further storyline, I get it. But for WrestleMania, WWE touts WrestleMania as their biggest event of the year. That's their Super Bowl, But they didn't do anything with it. For that night,
And, well, here's a better question. What can they do with something like that, the way that they've treated it? There's nothing they could do to bring that back from what they've already done to it.
When The Fiend lost to Goldberg, that effectively really killed it.
And that's what they've always done with Bray Wyatt. But then when you go through all these links and do all this goofy shit where you're setting people on fire,
that's another thing,
and doing all this ridiculous stuff, you've put yourself in a position where, okay, well, now whatever you do is just going to be stupid and ridiculous, and it's not going to mean anything.
When they went with that Inferno match, that is a match that he should have never lost.
It should have never.
It shouldn't have happened.
Well, I said they should have never been put in that in the first place because they've put themselves in a spot where they could never get out of.
Yeah, and now they brought him back at Fastlane last month as his Melt Man, basically. Yeah. And then tonight he's back with a brand new fucking mask.
Yeah.
Like the old,
like nothing happened.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like they literally treated it like nothing happened.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah. And then you got Alexa Bliss sitting on the damn box with a damn tiara or whatever it's called, made out of barbed wire.
What do you think's gonna happen with that?
If it was up to me, I'd be tossing her out the back door and giving her
into a volcano.
No, I'd be tossing her out the back door with her future endeavors. And a pink slip, but that's me at this point.
Go that far.
So they've ruined her.
They backed themselves into a corner with that.
She was one of the best heels they had.
When they paired her with Nikki Cross,
she was one of the best heels they had.
Yeah, her character started getting stale, but instead of just pushing her on down, they should have tried to re-innovate it,
Yeah.
But instead, they teamed up with Nikki Cross, and that's when she seemingly just kind of went downhill.
Yep.
But, everybody, there you have it, We gave our reactions to every WrestleMania match this year. Gave our picks for the best match, worst match, and what we thought was going to happen with both world titles. What's going to happen with them after tonight's new events.
It's going to be interesting because it doesn't really look too good going forward.
WWE needs to start sticking with these guys and pushing them. That's all they got now they can do.
Well, and this is the product of the last few years of what they've been doing. This is how you get in this position. So
they didn't build the stars of. They didn't build Rock and Austin by relying on Hogan and.
Nope. Rock was already a made man when that match with Hogan happened.
Yeah, and that's how it should be.
Rock was already. He didn't need it. They just did it because, we got both guys now.
Why not?
Both guys are already.
No, they were icons of their own generations. Why not?
And that's a totally different situation. At that point, it's like, why the hell not?
Like with Cena and The Rock. That was great.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't be relying on these guys to build their future stars. They need to let their future stars build themselves up.
You really think about it, that's back when a lot of that started, is when they decided to bring The Rock in for that. And then that's when all this just slowly started turning into all that,
Yeah. And Lesnar, that didn't help at all, being that he held on to the world title.
Yeah.
That didn't help at all.
I mean, granted, he got them the biggest drawing numbers they've had in forever.
As a short-term help,
But he was never going to be permanent.
And that's a help short term, but for the long run, you're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's never going to be permanent. So.
As we see now, because he's no longer under contract.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has been for a few months.
Since last year.
Oh, is it that long? Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they do now when WWE really has to rely on their current generation.
Well, this is kind of a good picture of that.
So like I said, let's just kick back, see what happens.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's looking interesting and not in a good way.
But remember, guys, this weekend we're going to have part 1 of our interview with C.W. Anderson come out. That'll be available on Saturday morning. Yeah. It'll be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you want to stream your podcast. It's going to be available. Then the following week, we'll have part 2 with CW. We got CW 2 weeks in a row. So both interviews they were great. He told a lot of funny stories. He was a great guest, great guest, and I highly recommend him to any other podcasters out there watching this. Yeah,
he's very good talker, very good storyteller, a lot of fun stuff. He's very easy to get along with. A lot of great stuff from him.
Then in 4 weeks, we're going to have the former head referee of ECW. We'll have Jim Molyneux joining us on the show, sharing some of his crazy stories and adventures from ECW and all those guys.
The world's most extreme referee.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. And we also have a big announcement. After the interview with Jim Molyneux, we have a big announcement for our next guest.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. But, thank you all for watching this. We'll see y'all this weekend. I'm Marcus. And we are out.